far as this is a 7-day forecast. You can get this on you can get one forecast on the web viewer forecast page. But anyway, that's where I got this from. So today, slight chance of shower and thunderstorms, high in 95. Heat index value is probably over 100. Low of 77 tonight, still a slight chance. Then you have chance of shower and thunderstorms tomorrow, still very hot. 30%, 20% chance. Really hot on Tuesday. 50% chance of shower and thunderstorms in the afternoon and in the evening. Go through the next day. 60% chance of shower and thunderstorms. And shower and thunderstorms likely, so 30 to 60%, 60 to 20. You can see as that moisture from that whatever that low ends up being moves around our area, thunderstorms chances increase. The temperatures, the highs may be a little bit cooler than they've been, but still high in the 90s, low in the 70s for the foreseeable future. We live in Georgia, so not no heat advisories for today. So at least not right now. We'll find out. Let's take a look. Heat advisory likely on the way though. I'm going to move on to the heat risk for the nation and the morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. This is Tim. Hope you're doing well. I want to start this video off by saying I appreciate those who have subscribed to my channel and who continue to watch. If you like my video, like it, and if you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. There's buttons for those when you're watching my video. Also, if you want to, you can follow my Twitter and Facebook feed. I'm also active on LinkedIn, Threads, Instagram, just about every one except TikTok. Anyway, I would appreciate y'all's support, and that just helps grow my channel. And to my friend Mitch West, I really appreciate your support. He's a weather enthusiast, very knowledgeable, a lot of experience in the weather world. He does really extensive, well done forecasts every day. And even though I have a degree in meteorology, it doesn't make me a good presenter, and he does a great job at presenting things to the public in a meaningful way. I'm learning a lot from him, so I appreciate that, Mitch. And what we're looking at here is let me just get my drawing tool out, see if it works. We have what the National Hurricane Center now has a 10% chance of development in the next 7 days and 2 days. This has a short, I was talking about yesterday, this is a tropical wave that's kind of stuck, a Kelvin wave that's kind of stuck in the flow at the low latitudes, and it's running out of time to develop, really. I mean, it looks, on the water vapor image, it looks kind of like there's a upper level high pressure over top of it right now, but as it moves towards the Caribbean, the conditions become a lot less favorable. If we look at the mid-level water vapor, there's a lot of dry air around the tropical Atlantic right now, with these pockets The real deep yellow colors is really dry air, and tropical systems don't do well in that. You see this other circulation right off uh, here. It's not really circulation, but disturbance, I guess you would say. There's some pretty strong. Let's see if we can get the visible loop out here. There's a lot. You can see all the dry air just to the north, and there's some westerly winds impinging on this system, so it's likely not to do much in the short term. Um, it's still a little bit early for the main development region to do anything, but it's starting to look a little more healthy as we move into um, excuse me, August. We should see things ramp up even more. Not that tropical development is a good thing, but it's a fact of life every year that we deal with. And to observe these storms out in the Atlantic and be able to see their initial seedling, so to speak, is very interesting. It's something I really like to do. One of my favorite things, actually. I really like watching tropical systems and forecasting them and stuff like that. So, um, in addition to nor'easters and severe weather. So, um, if you take it back to the up a little more for loop, what we got along the east coast here, excuse me, up a level low here. What's going to happen? There's going to be a trough of low pressure that's kind of develop in this area here. Not a very good drawing, but go back a minute. There's going to be like a trough that's going to develop here, which you can kind of almost see on this loop here. But what's going to happen is sometimes along these boundaries, low pressure systems can develop. And most of the models are agreeing that there's going to be some low pressure development off the southeast coast in the next week or so. And I'm a little bit baffled why the National Hurricane Center hasn't issued an outlook for this yet. I am not questioning experts. This is not Tim saying they should do so. But model guidance has been very um, consistent over the past 24, 48 hours with something developing here and possibly moving down the same way 93L did. What that would do for the southeast and the coastline here would likely bring more cloudiness and cool a little bit, somewhat cooler temperatures as time goes on. If we look at the continental U.S. for a second, we see a large. These greens are just a lot of moisture in the upper levels, which means higher, colder cloud tops. If we switch to the infrared, which just shows cloud top temperatures, the brighter reds are the higher cloud tops with colder temps. So as you get higher in the atmosphere, it gets colder. So that shows up if you have moisture and lift, and it shows up as red here. And the deep blacks and whites is probably the highest it could go. You can see in the tropics here, there's some convection and maybe a semblance of a low-level spin here, but you see these mottled, like it looks like little puffy clouds and stuff. That's stable air, and when you see that right there north of a tropical system, usually it's all goes like this. That's kind of the edge of the push of the subtropical ridge, really. And that's really stable air. And then we're moving in. If it moves into that environment, then it's not going to have a chance to develop. Anyway, that's it for the infrared and water vapor loop showing the tropics in the continental U.S. I'm going to go over the outlook for the tropics from the National Hurricane Center, go over the latest model guidance. I'm going to move to talking about the upcoming heat risk over the next 7 days, which is quite significant. As far as the tropical Atlantic goes, there's a 20% chance of development. Actually, sorry, 10% now. 10% now in the main development region. National Hurricane Center has bumped it down to 10%. Likely to not develop much, if at all, right now. As far as the model ensembles, as I go through this, you can see how most of the models agree in a general sense to be something developing off the southeast coast in the next 3 or 4 days, and hopefully National Hurricane Center will come up with an outlook highlight goes when we have a system possibly develop off the coast here. Well, as time goes on, this is the American model. Go through in time here, talking about the 22nd. It kind of wants to put a low somewhere, and it kind of meanders around with enhanced moisture all around the southeast as time goes on. Eventually, maybe the moisture making it into Louisiana, Mississippi, just like excuse me, just like the AL93. It doesn't really latch on anything really developing more than that, but it's very possible we get a tropical depression out of this. Just depends where it sets up, boundary sets up, and if the conditions are favorable enough. So that's it for the tropics for today. We're going to keep an eye on stuff. I want to talk about the heat next, and I'll go over quickly the severe weather chances after that, and future radar at the end of my video. As far as hazards go, I want to show this first before I go over the temperatures. You got heat advisories for a good portion of the southeast. Not quite meeting the criteria for heat advisory in the southeast and the deep south, but the next coming days, I think we will. Up to the just to the north of the heat advisories. I don't know why this one area doesn't have it, but you got extreme heat warning, which is not good. An extreme heat watch right to the north of that, and flood watches with some flash flood warnings intermingled there. And out west, you have red flag warnings. So the biggest story for today is the heat and flooding. Next, I'm going to go over the temps for the next 7 days and the heat index values. Heat index values go. Let's go through this real quickly. The wide areas of 100s for a good portion of the nation as we go through next week into the following week. Maybe cooling down slightly as we get towards the end of the period. Maybe some relief coming way into August, possibly. But you can see maybe along the north, this area here, it looks like it might forecast to maybe cool down slightly. Maybe back to our cold front or something like that. But again, it's forecast to heat up again pretty quickly through most of the periods. So given that, we can look at the forecast for climate, and we could see just that real high chance of above normal temperatures for the next 2 weeks for a good portion of the United States. Precip chances are likely to be higher the northern tier into the south, equal chances bordering that, and into the Intermountain West and high plains, maybe below average chance of precip. And going to day 8 through 14, you see here slight chance of below normal precip in the high resolution rapid refresh model, which is a convection allowing model. You can see in the upper Midwest to the Ohio Valley a complex of storms, which we saw on the initial infrared energizing again towards the end of the day. And this is 18 hours out. Not expected to have widespread precip. This is probably chances where severe weather could be towards the end of the day, as far as the upper Midwest and the high plains. Maybe some precip along the front range of the Rockies, but overall, not a lot of widespread severe or precip chances. Although the flooding risk continues, and I'm going to bring up weather-wise real quick and go through that real quickly. Outlooks. We still have a day one outlook for, interestingly enough, for high risk of excessive rainfall. Illinois primarily today, with a large marginal risk with slight risk embedded in it, and that's that complex of storm that's moving through right now. I don't know if that's it's almost, I think this might be up till 12Z today, which is 8 a.m. But either way, right now that's what it's showing. Day 2, slight risk moves further into Kentucky again. Yesterday they had a bunch of, you can see ongoing flood warnings in Iowa right now. Day 3, down the southeast and upper Midwest up into the Great Lakes and desert Southwest. All on the Gulf Coast and marginal risk and up and over into the upper Midwest and the high plains and along the front range of the Rockies and the desert Southwest. Again, marginal risk along the Gulf Coast. You can see here how that goes. Severe weather. This is excessive rainfall. My bad. Severe weather today. Well, we have a slight risk, different bullseyes here for today. And these are driven by probably more than 2% tornado risk in the green areas. Higher risk of high winds where the storms move through. The risk in these areas to the right here is likely driven by strong downburst winds from moisture-laden storms. Up in the northern tier of the states, it's more probably driven by the steep lapse rates and downburst winds as a result of a lot of decay with lapse rates so high. As far as wind goes, for day 2, these are all 5% wind risk. You see day 1, day 2 moves right in the region where this is tomorrow. Boundary may set up and you get some water loaded downdrafts that when you have high PWatts, which is amount of precip in the atmosphere, water loading can create fast downdraft winds as it hits the ground and spreads out. So that's where the risk is likely here and up in the North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Montana, more based on lapse rates and things like that. So all in all, severe risk is not that bad. More flooding and heat right now, and potential tropical development. Again, I appreciate everybody listening, and I hope you get something out of this forecast. And um, please, if you haven't already, subscribe and like and share with your friends. I really want to provide meaningful information, and I hope you get something out of this. Have a great day.